Hi, everybody. Welcome to Comics in Captivity. I'm your host, Bruce Smirnoff, and I'm coming to you from Emerald Point in Delray Beach, Florida. And it is Friday, April 24th. This is obviously our first show. And I've invited some other comedians who also are in captivity, and they're going to join us in a couple of minutes. I just want to let you know that this show is being produced by Don Casino Productions in Hollywood, Florida. And they were very kind to contact me and tell me to do this show. I said, hey, I got nothing to do. I'd love to speak with all my friends. So without any further ado, as you're all gathering in the queue, let me introduce you to three excellent comedians. First will be Michelle Ballin, who works comedy clubs, cruise ships. I've known Michelle since 1994 when I met you at the Comedy Store in Hollywood. Hello, Michelle. Hold on. I'm going to bring on the other guests. Nice blue glove.
I'm staying safe in my own house.
Okay. Let's bring on our second guest. This gentleman, I've heard of him for a long time, but I didn't really get to meet him till about 3 years ago. And that's Troy Thurgill. Killer act on the ships. Great act on land. I've worked with him both on land and sea. There he is. Hello, Troy. Thank you for joining us.
All true. Thank you, Bill.
Yeah.
It's nice to have you. And now let me bring in the third of our great comics. This guy, I met him doing, I wonder if he remembers, a country club in New Jersey in 2001 when I moved from Los Angeles to Brooklyn, New York. This is Phil Cad. Bring Phil in. Phil, how wake up, man.
What are we doing?
We're doing the show.
Mom? How you doing?
Well, welcome. It's great to have all three of you. This is a 30-minute show that we're doing tonight. It's going to go by just like that. I have some questions. I think we can go back and forth. But first, just so people get acquainted with you guys, I thought I'd ask a question of, since we've been in quarantine, this is about 6 weeks now. I've lost track like everybody else has. Just tell me your two favorite TV series that you're watching. We'll start with Michelle. What's a favorite with you?
Well, it's so funny. I've been on ships so much, and they don't have any shows except, CNN and Fox or MSNBC. So I'm still catching up on King of Queens. So, and I'm also doing, I've been watching the Gunsmoke. You ever see those black and whites are here? The Gunsmoke and all of that.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's go to Phil. Phil, what have you been catching up with?
I've been binge watching this show. I don't know if you've seen it or not. It's been on for a while. It's called CNN. This show absolutely sucks. I don't recommend it. The first season was interesting. There was a virus and it was, it was fun. But then it just got it was just the same, all the same characters. I basically bailed on it. Now I'm watching House of Lies. That's what I'm watching now. So,
what is that? What network is that on?
That's on Showtime with Don Cheadle, which could be also CNN. But
House of Lies, yeah.
I also switched over to, I was watching movies. I watched Castaway with Tom Hanks because, I watched that and I go, at least I'm not that guy. You know what I mean? I'm lonely, but I'm not having sex with a volleyball. That's all I'm saying.
Can I just say one thing? I don't want to, but that funny thing is in FedEx, he had all that stuff in the water. I had a package out in the rain that was destroyed. He had packages in the goddamn ocean. I'm just going to say. Yeah.
That's okay.
Thank you. So now let's turn to our third great comedian sitting here, Troy Thurgill. Troy, tell us, what two shows are you watching?
Let me see. That's a good one. I think catching up on The View. That kind of
The View. What network is that on?
The View. Okay. With Joy.
Joy Behar.
Yeah, I like The View. I've been watching a lot of the cooking shows, and it calms me in quarantine. It brings me to my senses. It makes me feel good. Just balances me out,
Have you made anything?
Yes, I made quite a few things. I find I've been doing a lot of Have you guys ever watched the Yoga Channel?
No.
Yoga channel? No.
It's the Yoga Channel. Yeah. If you've been in quarantine a while, you'll see that it brings you down to earth. And just I'll show you something I made. Go ahead, take it away from Phil.
You know what? I'm so happy that the gyms are closed now. I don't feel pressure. All the gyms are closed. I don't have to feel guilty. That's your cat, Bruce. That's a pretty big cat.
It's a big fatty. This is Mr. Botchagaloop, and he is one of my two.
Did you see Tiger King? Did you see that time when your cat came by?
I did watch a little bit of it, but I got my two tigers here, so it just didn't grab me, that show. But I know it's very popular.
Oh my God, I thought it was ridiculous. Stupid. How many people?
I think everybody seen it.
I watched about a half an episode and I bailed on it, man. I just,
You know what it is? It's like I got two cats that satiate me with the animal thing, and he's like the guys that we meet on the road. I don't, it's enough that I have to entertain them. I don't have to watch the guy for 45 minutes. So it didn't grab me. I like Ozark. I've been watching Ozark.
A big gay guy that likes pussy. A big gay guy that likes pussy. But let me ask you. That was how many people have all these tigers? It blew my mind. I didn't know so many people had tigers. What?
Carol Baskin lives about 20 miles from the house. She lives her tiger place is over there in Tampa.
Really? Have you gone over?
And she killed her husband.
I know. I think that way too. She killed.
And Bruce looks like Gomez Adams. Doesn't he? With the whole.
I love that he's got Bruce. I love that you got.
He looks like a. You know what he looks like? He looks like a Bond villain.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna lock them up in the front room, but what I've done is I've spoiled them. I've turned them so codependent, and I'm actually codependent on them that I couldn't even do it to them. I said, all right, look, if they sit on my lap, they sit on my lap. They're not going to bother anybody. So yeah.
That's why I have a fish. I have 2 aquarium tanks. I have fish.
Okay. This is my pet. This is my pet now because it's you can't. It's very easy to take care of. I told you to wear a mask. But
okay,
guys,
hold on. I want to change gears up a little bit. What have you done? You were stuck on a ship, Michelle. You didn't get off till about 3 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Right. So you've only been home for 3 weeks, but Troy and Phil, you've been home, I think, the full 6. Is there anything you have done in those 6 weeks that you would never ever thought you would have done, and would you like to share that with us, please?
Murder.
I can go first.
Phil, go ahead.
I'm wiping my ass with coffee filters.
Thank you, Phil.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm pretty much down.
Be honest.
I've gotten rid of the coffee filters. I actually considered Post-it notes at one point, but you got to be careful with the Post-it notes. The sticky side has to be out, just for future reference. You know what I mean? And I went through scripts that friends sent me. Those came in handy. I had about 3 or 4 screenplays that were sent to me, and I used those. So I don't know what to do now. It's just I use leaves, but the hoarder's got all the leaves. I don't know what to do. You mentioned the screenplay. When I was living in Los Angeles, I had written a screenplay with Billy Reback and Mark Goldstein, and we sent it to a famous actor who I happen to know, and he passed on it, and he sent it. In those days, even getting something Xerox was so expensive. I said, could you send me back the script? And on the front cover of the script was a stain from his coffee mug. He was using my script ultimately as a coaster. And then what was really insulting was he was eating cake because a piece of cake was embedded in the ring, and the oil from the cake had spread into the script. So I always remember that when you say something like that, Phil. Well, you can send it to the Food Network. Maybe they'll do something.
Yeah, maybe they wouldn't have passed. How about you, Michelle? Anything since those 2 or 3 weeks you're back?
I've been sad that I'm back because my girlfriend is like the virus Nazi, but I don't have to worry because she's such a tough Puerto Rican. Even the virus won't come here. So, and you know what? How many of you guys think I'm going to do this? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this, right? I had so many plans, and all I do is I organize and I disorganize so I can organize again. I pull the shit out. I put the shit back. I don't know. It's crazy. I've done nothing. No writing.
How about you, Troy? Anything that you've accomplished? You're a guy that strikes me as someone that experiments with a lot of things.
Yes, I do. I experiment a lot of things. I've been calling India and trying to do a scam.
Well, I have been. Let me reach over here. Sorry, Bachi. I've been getting into so many things. I don't know if you can see this. This is what's called a cutthroat razor. And I'm real big on grooming and shaving. And I always was fascinated with how to use one of these things because it's just so intimidating. So I've been on all these websites that teach you how to use it. And it's been 4 weeks now, and I've gotten nowhere. This is the scariest thing. This is why men had beards for so many hundreds of years, because the only way to shave yourself was with this device. And it was practically impossible. There's few guys that can do it, but I am certainly a coward when it comes to using that.
Well, I'll tell you something. When you're getting on that subject, you know how people always say, there's a YouTube or Facebook algorithm and all that stuff to sell you certain things. I had a Manscaped ad. Okay. If there's ever a time in my life where I've never been concerned about scaping my man, it's right about now. Nobody's seeing it. And I could care less. And if I'm single guy, if there's a married man out there, they're in quarantine. How many married men are manscaping?
Yeah. I don't know. Not that many.
I don't know what Manscaped is.
You want to explain it to her, Troy?
Manscaping is kind of the same as you ever see those guys with the neatly trimmed beard?
I guess. They're gay men. They're usually gay men.
Yeah, well, okay, correct. Well, manscaping is that same look down below.
Down below? How would you know? Do you? It's almost.
They advertise this all the time, Michelle. I don't know where you've been.
Well, I don't know. I guess I've been on ships where I watch.
I guess the algorithm works.
Yeah.
Wait,
they don't advertise that on ships. Yeah.
Wait, is that when women used to get Brazilian wax?
Yes,
it looked like a goddamn runway, like a plane was going to stop right on. And you know what? And from the side, it looked like Hitler. It was crazy. And I said, I'm a Jew with a Hitler vagina. There's something wrong with this. There was a big stripe. It was so, those Brazilians, they're nuts.
I'm fond of the Nike swoosh.
The what? The what?
The Nike symbol, the
Nike swoosh. If we explain it, ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, right.
I'm going to go back to saying Victrola. Goodbye.
Phil, what about you? What have you been doing all this time in captivity?
Well, I have organized my apartment from A to Z, man, and I got rid of a lot of stuff. I don't know. It's amazing the stuff that you realize that you've been saving that you have no use for. It's like I cleaned out my desk. I was like, why do I have a pager? Why am I saving a pager? When is that coming back? You know,
you never know when.
Of USB cables. You know what I mean? And but I got rid of a lot of stuff that I want to sell when this pandemic is over, or I could ship it if need be. Stuff that I really don't need anymore because I'm here. I have Troy, you have fish. I have an automatic fish feeder that I don't really need anymore. You know, because I'm doing this now.
And he doesn't have fish.
I have the light timers, and if anybody's interested in a 5-piece luggage set, I'm not going anywhere for a while. So it's Toomey, really cheap if you want it.
I'll take the pager. You never know when you want to deal cocaine again. You never know.
You put that with your other pages.
Yeah, exactly.
I will
hey,
say
I was very busy in the 80s.
I'm selling some fish with the neatest pubes.
We all share. Boy, this is going right into the toilet. Thank you very much, all three of you. What we all share in common is we all perform on cruise ships, and we all perform in the condominiums, the over 55 communities here in Florida. And if I may say, you are all home run acts in whatever venue you go in. Aww. But one thing that I don't know about Troy, I don't know about Phil, I assume, but with Michelle, one thing we have in common is trying to schnorr our way into business class any way we can. And Michelle lets you know it. I don't let people know it because I just don't believe in rubbing it into people's faces. But that's your middle name, Michelle. But the greatest one is you were going from New York. It was your last cruise, actually, before the quarantine. You were going New York to Buenos Aires, and you schnorred yourself into business class on American. That's a 13-hour flight. Please tell us what that was like. Oh, God.
Do these guys know what schnorr is? They're not Jewish. You guys know
they figure it out.
We're the Jews here. But, it's so funny because I said, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to treat myself. And I had no idea. And they walked me into a place, I don't know if you've seen, with a bed and a whole room to yourself and these Bang & Olufsen's and headphones and a bit. Let me tell you something. I went in there and everybody else is all comfortable. Me, I'm acting. They have a bed with buttons. You go down, you go up, you go down, you go up. I did that for 11 hours. I wouldn't even sleep. I would put my legs here. The guy next to me, I knew the flight attendant. I kept ordering drinks. The flight attendant, I'm sure she was looking at me like, this is a coach passenger that somehow got into this business class, because I was so out of place there. The guy next, I didn't sleep for 13 hours. I didn't want to miss a minute of my bed with the blanket and the TV and the this and oh my God, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And somebody said that was business class, and somebody said, was that first class? I can't.
They do have on some of their lines. They even have a first class.
Okay,
yes.
I can't imagine how. What are you having, an orgasm and caviar at the same time?
If you go on YouTube and Google that, you'll see it's very few seats, but you can actually see on YouTube what first class is like. It's even better. But yeah, American has a great business class. You guys work. You guys do mostly.
But you can't go to coach. Now I can never fly again. I'm done. I can't.
It's very difficult.
No.
But you guys, Phil, you're just doing LA to sometimes the Bahamas. So you don't care about the upgrades as much, correct?
I'm executive platinum, baby, all day long. I walk on there, I'm like, where are my rose petals? Where are my rose petals?
On America.
Where's my seat? And then people like you and Michelle try to sneak on, and I'm like, who the hell are these morons? They don't belong. They're playing around with the seats. She's had 5 drinks already. She doesn't belong. I'm like Seinfeld with Elaine Beda sneaking. Who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Troy, I guess you are also executive platinum too, right?
You know what's cool about American Airlines?
What?
They're counting our miles this year, even though we're not flying. I thought that was pretty cool of American Airlines to do that. Did you know that,
very
Troy?
nice.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, this reminds me of, yes, I'm executive platinum as well, of course. Phil, one time Phil and I were boarding a plane and I got bumped up to first, and Phil did not. And Phil's walking past me, and Phil, is it okay? Back in the day, Phil and I used to be little drinking buddies, right? And we both had a few before we got on the plane, and they made a big deal about bumping me up. Now, I don't like to get on the plane late when I've been bumped up to first class, because I like to sit there and have people walk past me wondering what team I play for and who I am. And I open up my phone and look like I'm doing something important, and then when they make a noise, I go like that. Just makes me puts things in perspective. So Phil walks past. And he said something like, nice seat. And then I said to him, I said, if anybody ever tells me America hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Tell them just think of this moment.
Yeah. Well, they got to throw it in now. They got to, stay on that side. They got to look, okay, we accept everybody.
Yeah, I just like the one fact.
But then you got off and couldn't get a cab, so that's what happened.
Hey, Michelle, I got a question for you. Michelle, you live in New York.
Yeah, I do.
You live in New York City, and you were around during the Black Plague in 1375.
Easy.
I just want to know what's it like. Compare the Black Plague to COVID-19.
Wait a minute.
We can't call it the Chinese virus. You can't call it the Black Plague. All right.
You look great, Michelle.
Chinese virus.
You know what's so funny, Bruce? Being a Jew, when I got home, it was Passover. And all I could think about is Passover was running from the plague. And here we were running from the plague. And I was like, do you have any lamb's blood to put on my door? See, they have no idea what we're saying. They're non-Jews.
Okay, that's all right. That's all right. Phil, tell me a little bit. We're all big fans. We're all big fans of Adam Ferrara. We love his work. I got to work with him on a policeman at the Hallandale Beach PAL show 2 years ago. Rocked the room. And I understand that you have you're dealing with him with a show. Tell us about that, please.
With him because he's always busting my balls, but he's a great guy. He's been my best friend for probably 25 years. We've done a ton of stuff together. He's a great guy. He's a great comic, and he's got a podcast called the Adam Ferrara Podcast, which I'm a regular on. We've done about 30 episodes so far, and they're 30 minutes long, so it's 30 minutes an hour, kind of like this thing. You know, you leave them wanting more. We've had Jay Leno on. We've had Kevin James. The current guest this week is Steve Sharippa. You may remember him as Bacala from the Sopranos.
Of course.
You know, the guy that got whacked.
Even, you know what's interesting?
Playing around with train, and he got shot 7 times.
What's interesting about Steve Sharippa is he started out as a doorman, club runner of the Improv in Las Vegas. We all know that. But the amazing thing was he's a tough guy, nice guy, but a real Brooklyn guy. And he wound up, after all the cards were dealt, he wound up being more famous than any of the comedians, unless Tim Allen worked there. But he basically became more famous than any of the comedians that he worked with.
Well, let me tell you something. If you listen to the interview, and you're right, by the way, he's a sweetheart. He's a really great guy. He ran a club in Vegas for years, and great to comics. And but he said he reached the point to where he invested in himself. He said he spent $24,000 to make 22 on The Sopranos in those early episodes because he didn't know how long he was going to be on it. It turned out he was on there for like 5 or 6 seasons, and but he didn't know that was going to happen. But he invested in himself, and I love the lesson, you know, about taking a risk, and that's what he did, and that's why, you know, he is where he is. But it's a great podcast. Adam releases it every Thursday. It's a ball of fun, and just tune in. We're trying to get everybody through this pandemic, and you know, just provide some laughter. You know, kind of like what we're doing now. This is a great thing. I think we're all doing. I think it's great.
Well, we thank Wendy for coming up with this idea. Troy, I want to ask you a question because you and I did a gig about, 18 months ago, and it was at the mobile, and I'm not making the pays really well, but it was at a mobile home park in northern Florida. And everyone there was super duper nice, but this is a technical question. It's a showbiz thing. I apologize for people watching that don't know the ins and out of stand-up, but they really messed this up. The stage was on this side and the stage was on this side. The comic had to work straight out into a camera, which was filming you and then projecting it on video screens. So it was the weirdest thing. I had to perform looking at the camera, but my audience was here, and I never connected. And I really had, I'd say, less than a mediocre set. I was very, very unpleased. However, the reason I bring this up is that you came on after me, and in spite of horrible logistic layout of that gig, you killed. You absolutely killed. So technically, I want to know, what did you use in your mindset while I was on that showed you, what gave you the idea to just blow through it and do so great? If you may answer that for me.
It's a fear of being broke.
Come on. You had to be, unless you do not think technically at all what the state.
Yeah, 100%. I looked at the room. The room was like, it was how you make a room if you wanted a comic to fail. If I was a comic I didn't like, and I would say, here, set it up this way, put the people way over there, put the people over there, and then put TV screens and the camera right in the middle, so he has to play to the camera and the people are off to the side. And I want you to sell donuts right behind the camera.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
right. There was like a little buffet tray there.
Yeah.
To be fair though, I had the benefit of you going first and seeing how the setup was and what was working and what was not working, and I was magnificent.
Yeah, but yeah, my whole thing is being intimate with the audience and breaking the wall and talking, and I couldn't accomplish that. So it was a real stiff show. And I'll say something about you, Phil. When I moved to New York, I thought, and I got my Ruth Stern. You remember that name? And she got me a gig with
God.
you
Phil, I have
at
a gig
a country
for you,
club.
Phil. It pays $150.
Right.
Right. And it was at a country club in New Jersey. And I said to listen, I do great at these Jewish events. And I went on first and I did good, but you went on after me. And that's when I got turned on to Phil Tagg. You took that room and you jujitsu'd them into another dimension. And I don't have to ask you how you did it. I mean, you were great for a long time. You didn't really struggle. You're a writer and a comedian, which is the double bonus of being a comic. Many comics not that strong in the writing department, me included, but you are equally talented. And you remember that gig, by the way?
I do, and thank you for your kind words. I wish I could snuggle up next to you with your cats and just give you a big kiss.
They're always available.
As a matter of fact, I love that you're wearing a suit. And I don't want you to be.
I know, it's crazy.
You know what? I'm putting my jacket on just for you, Bruce.
Not only am I wearing a suit, I'm wearing
just for you, baby.
Thank you very much. I'm wearing my vintage shoes that I send away for, and I have a pretty amazing collection of vintage shoes. I'm a lunatic. What happened to Troy? Where did he go? What did he went
to get his jacket?
He probably went on to get a tie.
Well, let me just say, I work for Don Casino Productions also. Not only I'm a comedian, but I also work in the talent division, and I'm sort of like what's called a comic whisperer. And hey Troy, you put on, now it's a whole different Troy.
Hell yeah. Alexa, play Shaft.
Yeah,
what do I have?
Can I just ask Troy? I just want to ask Troy a question.
Yes.
Troy, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Troy?
Yes, I can hear you.
Troy, when did you move to the Amityville house? That's what I want to know. What the hell you got going on in the background there?
I don't know what that is.
The red room of the Amityville house.
Oh, you don't.
About?
What's that? Oh, that's nothing. It's a noose that says Troy was here.
Okay, dude, those walls are going to start bleeding in about 10 minutes. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know.
Let me ask you on as we move on towards the end of our wonderful episode together today. I want to get your thoughts. I don't want anything maudlin, but I do want to get your thoughts on moving forward. Where do you see live comedy, venue comedy, and cruise ships moving forward in the next, let's say, 3 to 6 months? Michelle, let's start with you.
What do you mean? Where do I see it going?
Do you feel that people will welcome back going to venues and sitting next to each other, or do you think this will have permanent? Well, I'm asking you your own thoughts.
Well, you know what? I think that people want to sit next to each other now. They're all like, "I want to get out. I want to get." I mean, people. It's like it's funny when I was traveling. It's exhausting, the traveling, isn't it? I mean, that's the hard part of the gig. And all I kept saying is, I want to stay home. I want to stay home. Now that I've been home, I want to get out. I want to go.
I know. Yes.
It's so, I didn't realize how much I would miss. But I tell you one thing as a comic.
Yes.
I wish I was a singer. Do you guys sing?
I can't call it that.
And do you think, when you're on a cruise ship, don't you look at the singers and go, what a fucking easy gig they have, right? Because half the time, you don't think so? I do, because they're not writing the material. I love when they sell a CD with other people's songs. It's not great. I go, I can buy the original. But the thing is that half the times they sing and they use the orchestra, and the orchestra is doing most of the show. And us, we're up there the whole time. And I now use the orchestra. I go, this sucks. Hit the drum.
Thank you. You didn't give me.
Hi, this is Phil Tagg. Welcome to Other Entertainers.
Hold on. You didn't give us an answer. I'm going to see if Phil can. Phil, where are your thoughts? 3 to 6 months live entertainment. Any problems or going to go back to normal? What do you think?
Yes.
I think we're all going to be back on a ship in about a week and a half.
I hope so. Boy, that would be great, wouldn't it?
No, seriously. Hey, look, man, I think that, I think the cruise ships are going to get up and running within the next, I don't know, hopefully by July, August maybe.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a little slow at first, but when it happens, they're going to want entertainment. They're going to want people to laugh. There's no doubt about that. So
You're optimistic.
look, it is what it is. I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the hiatus, believe it or not. I'm
Me
because I am getting stuff done, but
yeah, I needed a break.
I know there are a lot of people. I know there are a lot of people less fortunate than me who are living check to check, and I've been there before, and it's not a fun thing to do. So my heart goes out to those people, and we're all just doing the best we can with this. Wendy, obviously, just a great thing she's doing here with this and trying to provide entertainment. And listen, all we can do is go with the flow. So, but I think it's going to be fine.
Thank you.
I think it's going to take a little while.
Troy.
Yeah.
Let me
Bruce,
go to Troy.
can I say one thing? I know I shouldn't.
You have been.
I was home. I was home after 9/11. I was home in New York at 9/11.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, we all thought. I said I could never do comedy again. There will never be people who want to go and see entertainment. I mean, after something like this happened, and I thought, what can I possibly talk about when this thing happened? And surprisingly, little by little, it did come back, and everybody was, So I think this is going to happen. People are going to go back on ships, and they're going to eat like pigs, and they'll be very happy.
Without saying, Troy, your final thoughts on looking forward in the future.
I think we'll be back. I think we'll be back 100%. I think it's going to be like, you've seen Michelle's show. There was always looked like people were social distancing. I think we'll be sitting.
Well, thank you, Troy. Listen, on a closing note, I just want to thank you all. This has been. I've never hosted a show before. I've emceed. I've done this. I've done. It seemed pretty easy for me, and it was easy because I had 3 incredible talents that made this
nice.
Like sitting in your living room in a suit. So I want to thank once again Bill Tagg, Michelle Ballin, Troy Thirdgill. Most importantly, I'd like to thank TJ, who works also at Don Casino Productions, who is our tech guy and a great agent, of course. But without his technical prowess, if this were left up to me, I'd still be in my underwear prancing around the apartment. So thank you all. We'll see you next week. 3 different guests joining us. We'll have you guys back as soon as the next plague, and that'll be in about 8 months. But thank you all, and good night, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Stay safe. Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
Stay safe.